Hello everyone, welcome back to Miyabi Changes part 125. In this video we will be talking about Miyabi, how we can play her, what are the most beneficial things for her, and finally if she will be worth your account. But before I start my video, I'd like to invite everyone that is watching to my Discord server. It's pinned in the comment section below. Also, I've been working on this video for 3 days straight, just testing. So I'd love for everyone to show their support through subscribing, and hopefully by the end of the video, I'd also earn your subscription if you were questioning it. And now without further ado, let's get started. With the new changes we've seen, Miyabi is now capable of being faster, of course. The numbers we've seen are nerfs after nerfs, but honestly speaking it was to be expected. On an agent that is almost capable of clearing any content with ease, and now she can clear with any content with ease as well. The only issue I see with her is going to be her W engine on a free-to-play option that many seem to be asking about this. Is there a substitute? The idea with Miyabi is her Anomaly application. Now a lot of you might say this is something terrible and they should bring back the Anomaly mastery on her. Let's sit down and talk about the Anomaly build-up and what it does to an enemy. On an enemy boss, the Anomaly build-up at first proc and second is going to be easier, and over time it will be requiring more of a couple of hits on the character that you'll be playing. Miyabi is going to be dealing shatter, which will be treated the same way as any other element aside from physical. Compared to the other anomalies, physical will be requiring a lot more to apply an assault, while the other elements, the application varies, but all require the same amount of anomaly. 3000 is the starting point. Why am I mentioning this part specifically is because with Miyabi, these things might become harder to deal with down the line. And it seems like even with the Yanagi, it'll be a tiny bit more justifiable for any agent. So to explain it in a brief way and for people to understand how this build-up works, you might consider different rotations yourself and do something with it. And also I consider how many times it can proc with the Anomaly build-up. So these things are necessary for you to understand and for me to also tell you about it and for myself to learn about. With your first proc it's going to be 3000, at the second proc it's going to be 360. These procs on third and fourth hit increase to 3121 and 3184. Again, notice the massive jump of difference and requirements. I know that some in the comment section will say, Flamma, this means that we can squeeze in an EX special with Miyabi to accomplish that, isn't that right? And to that I say, if only it was that easy. Over time, it might be more difficult for any player to apply an anomaly. If you actually want to test it yourself, use any agent you have in testing room or the VR and test out with an attack, for example with Piper, and apply the anomaly with her. The application will seem more difficult the more you apply your stacks. And of course, I've tested this myself, so even with other agents like Jane, Yanagi, and Bernice, each application and element has different type of treatment. Assuming that tests were done on Bernice, you'll feel that it's going to be faster. And if you tested it on at least Yanagi, you'll feel that at a perfect rotation, it is possible to squeeze in 2 shots. And with Jane, it would take more effort to make her trigger assaults. Of course, these tests were all done on solo agents. So let's just close this chapter by saying on the video, when you see Miyabi assumptions being made, I'm treating it like any other type of element and giving it the worst case scenario of proccing twice and not 3 times. And also here's a graph, you can pause the video and see for yourself how many times it takes. This was tested based on 10 procs of Anomaly. Now I've tested 3 teams and wanted to say before starting, all these calculations are on A rank W engines and no one is on M1 or M6 unless it's an A rank agent. On top of that, the A-ranked agents had P5, Miyabi Bernice and Lucy, Miyabi Yanagi Caesar, Ellen Sukaku and Lighter. And keep in mind, in each calculation, you'll see the supports not change in damage contribution or decreasing in it, because in these calculations, I've only considered to use their ultimates and EX specials and chains. I compared the damage to Ellen, since again, a lot of people seem to like the idea that Ellen versus Miyabi is a thing, and believe it or not, the team was lacking behind in damage. But keep in mind, the W engine that Miyabi is holding is an attack W engine that you can get from the event. This W engine is giving you 594 attack with 20% crit rate. Remember, this is an attack W engine that is providing you these stats, so normally the passive won't work. The teams of course lost to Ellen, who was holding the same W engine, but if you look at the difference and consider that Miyabi is holding an A rank W engine, Miyabi is doing pretty damn well. With Miyabi, Bernice and Lucy, the team was doing 3.6 million DPR, compared to Ellen, who was doing 3.8 million DPR. And with Ellen's team, we need to remember that the team was doing exceptionally well due to Lighter's buffs and due to Ellen being on field and gaining buffs majority of the time. And also the fact that Ellen is holding out on her own is quite exceptional. I don't think I can say anything bad about this comparison because Miyabi is holding an A rank W engine, that is attack, and Bernice was on Weeping Gemini P5 and Lucy was on Kaboom the Cannon P5. And on the other side, Lighter was holding P5 Steam Pot, and with Sukaku she was holding P5 Demon. Now, with these calcs we can see that both squads were doing exceptionally well, and without a doubt great for something that is on free to play option. Let's look at what happens when the enemy is stunned, shall we? When the enemy is stunned, Miyabi's squad was doing 5 million DPR, and Ellen's squad was doing 5.3 million DPR. And again, for someone that is holding an A rank W engine that is attack, so the passive is not working, she looks very good, and to be quite frankly honest, I love it. And I took these calculations to next level. I wanted to compare Miyabi Bernice team to Yanagi Bernice teams. Because if you remember from my last video, I did mention that we should consider playing Miyabi Bernice, or we should actually ask ourselves if we should play Yanagi and Bernice. And here are my results. The Miyabi squad was holding the same exact W engines. Nothing changes, with their best in slot discs of course. However, in Yanagi's case, things took a small turn. Yanagi was holding P5 Lip Gloss, Bernice was holding P5 Weeping Gemini, and Reina was holding P5 Slice of Time. Miyabi, Bernice, and Lucy were doing the same exact amount of damage. However, Yanagi, Bernice, and Reina were doing insane damage, exceeding Ellen's damage. Yanagi, Bernice, and Reina are one of her best core teams, and I didn't consider to use Yanagi, Bernice, and Caesar because I'm considering the fact that you'll be focused way more on pen ratio rather than attack and 25% damage bonus on marked enemies. And of course, there are people that will say Caesar is a boring pick because she is just shielding you and the game becomes boring. And to that I say, do whatever pleases you. The damage was 4 million, and this was also considering the fact that the teams were considered in a worst case scenario. I considered Yanagi and Reina to get staggered once, and Bernice is only applying her EX and not using any special attacks. Again, the team was doing exceptionally well. While the enemy is stunned, Yanagi, Bernice, and Reina reached 5.9, almost 6 million DPR, while Miyabi and Bernice and Lucy had the same exact DPR as it was previously. And now finally, we have reached the icing on the cake. Miyabi Yanagi versus Ellen team. Yanagi was holding P5 Lip Gloss, Miyabi was holding Attack W engine from the event, and Caesar was holding the original Transmorpher, compared to Ellen, who was holding the same exact build the squad had before. The damage while the enemy isn't stunned is 5.1, while compared to Ellen, it was 3.8 million. And again, this isn't bad for Ellen, since she's the only carry in the squad, while the other squad has an agent that depends on dealing damage with Disorder, and the other agent is also dependent on Disorder to be triggered to make her gameplay way easier. Before people ask me in the comment section, everything on these scouts involve the new changes, where she is faster with her CA now, and even with the new changes for her. And overall, Hoyo is cooking something that will be very premium in my opinion. However, on a free-to-play option, you're just going to suffer without Yanagi or Bernice. You can still use Piper at the end of the day, but as of now, these are the teams I've tested on free-to-play options, and hopefully we won't be getting another new change. And for the final calculation of the video, I think it would be only worth to mention the premium team with their main W engines. With Miyabi, Yanagi, and Caesar, their damage was 11 million DPR and 800k DPS. The idea here is the fact that AP is now buffing the disorder damage that the Frost Flame is contributing to the table, and on top of that we can see Miyabi's personal damage excelling in that field. So overall it's looking very promising. Even though it's a very premium looking squad, it is nonetheless one of the best squads we can get our hands on. I would encourage switching Caesar with Lycon, but it isn't something I'm capable of calculating as of making this video, because I've been sleeping for 2 hours for the past 3 days, so forgive me on that. So, my thoughts on this is simple. If you'd like a premium team with Anomaly, without a doubt Miyabi and Yanagi are a great option. However, keep in mind that if you have Ellen, she is still not a bad option. She is basically carrying out the heavy load all on her own, and the fact that she still provides great advantages as a starting limited agent and does great number of damage. My only concern at this point would be if Hoyo is still going to be focusing on Anomaly rather than focusing on attack agents. Anomaly has been very favored at this point, there is no questioning it. And whoever now has Yanagi and Bernice and Jane, and you're planning to pull on Miyabi, Bernice and Jane can be back on the same squad, while Yanagi and Miyabi can have their own squad. And congratulations, you've just gained 2 new teams for your Shiyu defense. Honestly speaking, I see these nerfs as good and a bad thing. Good because we're having more agents that are Anomaly now that are filling up the empty seats that it once had. And bad because these characters are having passives that's locking them from being too versatile compared to the previous ones. And it's understandable, at the end of the day they're doing great amount of damage in my opinion, so locking them with the same faction and needing support is something that is essential, and in the future I'm 100% sure and certain that Hoyo will release a support for both Miyabi and Yanagi, and if not, it'll be another Anomaly agent, and hopefully this time it is Ether. And until they release an Ether Anomaly agent, that will be a tall male, we have reached the end. Sorry for uploading this late, and hopefully you've liked the video, and hopefully I've earned your subscription today. If I didn't, let me know in the comment section below if I said anything wrong. Also, I'll be linking my Discord in the comment section, and a special thanks for Flaminsky for the footage that is on my video, along with Hollanda, who is also helping me out in the previous videos. See you in the next one.